Okay. Well, first off, super proud of our team. It's been a long road for us where we've been on the road, and it was really good to be back home. I thought our road trip helped us grow up a little bit. We were able to play different lineups, where we were able to put some of those lineups on the floor together tonight. This was one of those games where we really wanted to be focused on us. We wanted to make sure we came into the game with certain goals, with turnovers being one that we needed to cut down, and also we wanted to climb all over the offensive rebounds. We fell a little bit short in that area where our goal was to get 20 for the game, and we got 14. But super proud of, some of our freshmen, really. Inez did really well, Kara Dunn, Tony Morgan, and super proud of Kayla Blackshear with 10 rebounds for the game. So I think this was a great game with momentum going into our first ACC game against Boston College. And, so just looking forward as we have this week to prepare. Our kids are still in finals, but we should get some really good practice time in to prepare for our road game against Boston College. So there you have it.
It seemed like the offense started to click when you went with a more athletic lineup, putting in Blackshear and Hermosa. And, of course, Blackshear had a great game, 10 rebounds. Mm-hmm. The ball just seemed to be moving better, especially in the post.
Yep. You know what, I think you, as coaches, you always kind of play around with lineups to see, who's going to be your more versatile lineup, who's going to be your quickest, most athletic lineup. And Kayla Blackshear definitely does a lot of good things for us. One of the biggest things is she gives us extra possessions with offensive rebounds. What she does is just a lot of the intangibles, and she really has bought into her role and understands her role. I think Nerea is kind of finally kind of getting her groove back and just understanding what this team needs from her. But, when we're able to get after you on the defensive end, it turns us into some easy buckets on the offensive end. And so I thought that our kids really bought into that tonight.
On the lineups, Aisha's started the last few games. Has that something y'all been more comfortable with, at least starting with her on the floor and then letting Nerea find her groove and where the game may lead to give her a natural spot to come in?
I think one of Coach Fortner's, her philosophy is, we earn our playing time, we earn our starting lineup, whatever that is in practice. And I think Aisha has done a fantastic job of coming in every single day and doing the things that she needs to do in practice, and it's kind of transferred over into the game. I think Nerea and Aisha both play extremely well together. They compete in practice and they push each other in practice. And I think that's one of the best things as coaches to see when you do have that chemistry, that, only one person can start. And, it's about, distributing the minutes, and I think they both done a fantastic job of playing together.
When you look at Dunn, from the first time we saw her out on the court to now, she seems like a more confident player out there, and not stopping to think what she should be doing, that type of thing. What are you seeing from her?
I think it's just as a freshman, it takes you a while sometimes to get used to that, from what high school to college looks like. For us as coaches, we have high expectations for Kara. She has high expectations of herself, but I think the most important thing for her is just to play and not overthink. And I think that's one of the things that we've really been working on with her in practice, is just letting her athleticism, letting her IQ, all those things just flow. And she's finally kind of getting comfortable with that, and we've tried to put her in some positions offensively where we can take full advantage of what her skill set is.
At the end, we all had mostly bench players out there. Tony was also playing with them. Was that on purpose to get her more minutes with the freshman crew, just because that won't happen all the time?
I'm not sure if it was on purpose versus we got some old legs on the bench and Cam Swartz and Bianca Jackson, and Tony has the younger legs, of those two. With Bianca playing, she and Tony both split at the point guard, and sometimes Inez does. I think it just happened that way. It wasn't something that was done on purpose, but I do think that Tony does a fantastic job of distributing the basketball and being a facilitator, and with some of our role players being out there, our bench players, we knew that she could get them the ball.
In the last couple of years, foul shooting at times was an issue on the court. It seems like the players you're putting on the court now are really getting it done at the foul line. I think they were 13 for 14 today, and they look really comfortable at the foul line.
Well, let's knock on wood that we don't jinx ourselves, but we will. That's something that we work on every day in practice. And free throw shooting is about a lack of physical toughness, mental toughness. It's about focus, and that's something that we work on every single day. And when our players get to the free throw line, they bust their butts and they work hard to get there. You got to have that mental toughness and that focus to knock them down. And so I thought they did a great job of doing that tonight. Obviously, as coaches, we want to get there more, so we can get those free points. But this year, right now, knock on wood, we've had a good free throw shooting team so far.
When y'all get to a lead that gets this large early, and it's going to be probably a cruise control game the rest of the way, what's most important for y'all to see and work on in a game like this that you may not be able to get from tighter games at all?
Yeah, I think for us as coaches, we never kind of look at it as cruise control. We're always worried about something. I mean, that's just who we are as coaches. But, tonight we really wanted to try and work on our press a little bit more. We wanted to see and throw different things on our half-court defense and work on some things offensively. So I think for us, it's always the fundamentals of the game, no matter if your lead is 5 or your lead is 15. It's not losing focus on the fundamentals. Sometimes tonight I thought we lacked some focus in that area with some of our little simple turnovers, but for the most part I thought we did a good job of trying to focus on those fundamentals, which has been the focus of our practice this week.
Going back to your talented freshman class, Inez seems like she has a really high basketball IQ. What do you see her role at moving forward?
I think you hit it right on the nail. She has an extremely high IQ, and I think sometimes too, as a freshman, it's just her getting used to it and getting used to the system, and then also it's used to getting used to the game over here versus internationally, and I think that's kind of taken her a little bit. But she's finally kind of, I think, hit her stride a little bit. But it starts in practice. She's had some really, really good practices this week where we've been able to play her at different positions from the point to the 2 to the 3. And you see that when she's on the court. We want to take advantage of her scoring a little bit more, which you saw her do that because she's a kid that can score in bunches and really good. But her role is going to grow. But her role is also going to be what we see every single day at practice. And she's a hard worker, so it should definitely get her more minutes, and she's earned it.
In scoring droughts is there any player or a couple players that y'all focus on trying to get the ball just to try and kickstart some sort of scoring at points? It seemed like tonight Bianca had a couple good times where it may have been a tad dry, but then she gets a bucket and then stuff gets going again.
Well, I think what we've learned early with this team is that we do have different players that we can put the ball in their hands late game. At Belmont, it was Tony Morgan, and Michigan State, I think it was Bianca Jackson. And we've also had games where it's Cam Swartz. So I think when you do have those, like the three-headed monster, those guards that, can create their own shots, and at any given moment they can have a hot hand, it's great to kind of have those options. But we really lean heavily on Bianca and Cam when it comes late game situations. All right, thank y'all.